Watch this video before you go buy a CNC.
So let's be honest, CNCs are pretty cool machines. They can do some awesome stuff, but we think freehand is better, and we have some good reasons why. Here's 5 reasons why freehand carving is way better than CNCs.
So number one, pretty easy to figure out, we're talking cost. So CNCs have come down a lot in price over the last decade or 2 decades, because I've been watching them for a long time. So you might get one for a few $100, less than $1,000, or you might pay up to $50,000. I mean, there's a huge range. The cost of a CNC is definitely going to be a heck of a lot more than a hand router and some router bits. So the cost is a huge barrier for some people to get into. They think they can't make a nice sign unless they have a CNC. Just not true. For a CNC, you're going to pay hundreds if you get a really cheap one, up to thousands. We did a video not that long ago where we went to Harbor Freight from ground zero to being ready to carve, including wood, for less than 350 bucks. We'll put a link in the description down below. You can go check that out.
Number 2, the size of the project. So let's say you spend $500-600 bucks on a CNC machine that's, say, got a bed of 12 inches by 24 inches. That's very limiting. There are some higher end CNCs that allow you to pass through, but you're still limited to that 12-inch width. When you have just a router, you can carve whatever you want. We've carved conference tables, large commercial signs gone on the side of a building, down to as small as a walking stick. So with a CNC machine, you are limited just to the size of the bed you have, or even if it has pass-through. When you get the bigger CNC machines to do larger, say, bar tops or bench tops or something like that, you're talking about some serious money. With a $150 router, you can do a walking stick, or you can do a conference table. It doesn't matter. You're not limited to what you can do.
Number 3, handmade products have a higher value. So if you take and you make something by hand versus something that's pushing buttons and computer generated, again, this is our opinion, guys, there's a huge group of people out there that want something that's very unique, one at a time, handcrafted skill, rather than something that's just mass produced and done over and over and over. That being said, you can probably charge more a handmade sign versus one that's done with a computer. So let's take an example. Let's take a piece of art that's created by AI versus something that's drawn by hand with somebody that has artistic ability. The value is much higher in something that there's a skill involved.
Number 4, pride in your work. When you get done making something with your own hands, you can sit back and you can look at it and you can be proud and say, man, I made that, I put the work into it, I developed this skill, and I did that. With a CNC machine, and this might ruffle some feathers, pretty much all you can say is, I hit start. Not the same thing. When I made my cedar coffee table, I had a sense of pride that I made that. But when you're using a CNC machine, you're basically pressing start. It's not really the same thing. Again, I told you this might ruffle some feathers. Some of you might not like that. This is just my opinion on it. But when a machine makes something that's not exactly handmade, it's a little harder to have pride in work that a machine did as opposed to you. Number 5, this is going to irritate some people. It is a computer skill, which is great. Computer skills are great, nothing wrong with that, but it's not a woodworking skill. Again, my opinion. When you program a computer and stuff, you don't say that's a woodworking skill. I don't build a house and then claim to be a mechanic. 2 different things. And also, you're making something anybody else can make with a CNC machine. You can make 10 of them and they'll all look the same. You can make one, somebody else can make one, they'll be exactly the same thing. I don't consider CNC skills to be a woodworking skill. A lot of people disagree with me, and that's all right. Like Grandpa used to say, this is America. You have the right to be wrong.
Here's a bonus reason for you guys. If you're carving by hand and you've developed that skill, you've got so much more versatility as compared to if you are using a CNC. What happens if something chips out? What happens if there's a mistake that's made? If you've got the ability to do it by hand, you can always make the adjustments and maybe be able to save something. If you don't have that ability and you're using a CNC, then you've got a bunch of firewood. The other thing is, think about the room that it takes for a CNC. Generally, it's going to take a pretty big space. You got to have a computer. You got to make sure it's dust controlled alongside your CNC. That can take a big space. If you're freehand carving, we have people that do it in apartments, in a little tiny bedroom, in a shed. You can create great looking signs in a very, very small space. That's not necessarily the case with a CNC.
Now, one thing I will say, one benefit CNC has over freehand, you can make 50 of them and walk away and go watch Friends and eat Hot Pockets if you want. You can't do that when you're freehanding. There's a positive for CNC, so we get a little less hate.
There you go, guys.
That's right.
Those are some reasons we think freehanding is definitely a better option or a great alternative option to CNCs. Again, we're biased. We're freehand guys. You know, we know that there are, you know, CNC guys out there that do amazing stuff, and we really like that stuff. But we think that you should consider freehanding over CNC.
So guys, we're expecting to definitely get some hate from this video, and that's okay. Everybody's got their own opinions. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment, let us know what you think, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thanks, guys. We love you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.